The twin suns of planet Zarn burned bright in the pale green sky. From the high towers of the capital city, alien guards stood watching the horizon with sharp eyes. For weeks, rumors had spread like fire, rumors of Earth's movement, of human warships seen near outer systems. The Galactic Council had laughed at first. Humans are still recovering from their last war, they said. They would not dare. But now the laughter had stopped. It began as a whisper in the wind. A strange signal appeared on long-range scanners, fast, coded, and clearly human. The signal came from deep space and headed straight for Zarn. The Council called it a mistake. A lost probe, perhaps, one of them said. Still, the military was ordered to prepare. Anti-air batteries were armed. Defense fleets hovered above the city. Every eye turned skyward. Tension thickened like smoke. Then, on the third day, the sky cracked open. 5 dark objects entered the atmosphere, fast, silent, like shadows falling from the stars. They didn't match any known Earth ship. The alien radars screamed alerts. Energy readings were off the charts. The capital buzzed with panic. "It's them! It's Earth's army!" Voices shouted through the streets. Civilians ran to shelters. Soldiers rushed to their battle stations. Sirens filled the air like a scream that wouldn't end. But when the ships landed, the fear only grew. They didn't crash into cities. They didn't aim for military targets. Instead, they dropped into the Dry Fang Desert, a place far from any major outpost. The ships were small, shaped like black knives, buried halfway into the sand. No doors opened, no troops came out, just silence. Alien. Commanders were confused. "This is Earth's army?" one asked. "Only 5 ships? No warning? No attack?" Others were less calm. "It's a trick," they said. "They want us to lower our guard." A high-level meeting was called. The leaders of Zarn's army, Science Corps, and Intelligence sat around a glowing table watching the footage again and again. "Still no movement," reported the head of sensors. "No known signals." They landed and went quiet. The general in charge slammed his fist on the table. "Earth doesn't do things without reason. If they sent ships, they're watching us." Far away in the desert, strange things began to happen. Scout drones sent to the crash site stopped, responding. The first 2 vanished mid-air. The third sent back one blurry image before it was destroyed. A shadowy figure walking in the sand, dressed in something that bent light around it. No face, no weapon, just walking. The alien general was furious. "Send a recon team. I want answers." 12 elite soldiers flew out in a dropship that evening. Their orders were simple: approach the ships, confirm if they were manned, and capture any human they found. The soldiers landed and moved fast, weapons ready, nerves tight. The desert wind howled around them. The air felt heavier than it should. Within an hour, they stopped responding too. The dropship that brought them returned empty. No damage, no blood, no signs of a fight. Just silence. A message had been burned into the pilot's seat in human language. Observe. Do not interfere. The alien council was in chaos. Some said to attack the desert with full force. Others said to pull back and call for allies. A few wise ones warned, this isn't war. This is a message. Meanwhile, deep underground, beneath one of the black ships, a human soldier sat in a small command room. His helmet glowed softly. Data scrolled across the screen: maps, heat signatures, troop positions, energy grids. His voice was calm. "Base is clear. Recon Alpha ready. Begin Phase 1. 3 other voices answered one by one. "Phase 1 ready? In position. Standing by." They were not an army. They were 5 humans, part of Earth's Recon Unit 9, sent not to fight, but to study, to measure, to judge. Their mission was simple. Test the defense of planet Zarn. Observe how fast they respond, note their weaknesses, and vanish. Back in the capital, fear grew. Citizens whispered in the streets. "The humans are invisible," they said. "They're ghosts, shadows." A child claimed to see a man in black armor walking through a wall. An old farmer swore that his water tank had been tampered with and now leaked a glowing blue fluid. He didn't know it was a tracker. Even the alien leader began to doubt his own strength. "What do they want?" he asked his advisors. No one had an answer. That night, under the light of the twin moons, one brave alien scout crept into the desert alone. His heart pounded in his chest. He moved slowly, hiding behind rocks, scanning for any sign of human life. Hours passed. He found one of the black ships, cold, silent, half-buried. He took a step forward and froze. A shape moved beside him, no sound, no warning. A tall figure, armored in smooth black, stood just feet away. Before the scout could scream, the figure vanished into thin air like a dream. He ran back to the capital, shaking and speechless. The only words he could say were, "They're already here." The Dry-Fang Desert was silent, but the silence did not feel natural. It felt like the desert itself was afraid. Heat shimmered in the air, sand blew in waves, but something unseen moved beneath the surface. The 5 black human ships remained, still, untouched by time or weather. Around them, the sand was marked by strange patterns, footprints that appeared and disappeared, shapes that made no sense to alien eyes. Inside the capital of Zarn, tension had become fear. The scout who had returned from the desert could not sleep. His eyes were wide with shock. He kept repeating the same words. "They vanished. I saw them. They just disappeared." Some believed him. Others thought he had gone mad. But when the security footage showed a strange distortion behind him, just for a second, no one laughed anymore. The alien high command ordered stronger action. "We must uncover the truth," said General Vosar, the supreme military leader of Zarn. "We will not be made fools by a few Earth ghosts." A new team was assembled, larger and better equipped. 40 soldiers, 12 drones, and 2 scientists. Their mission was to scan the desert, capture anything moving, and bring it back, dead or alive. They left at dawn. The desert welcomed them with silence. Their boots crunched the sand. Drones buzzed above, scanning every rock and shadow. At first, everything seemed calm. No sign of human life, no heat signatures. Nothing moved except the wind. Then, the strange things began. One by one, the drones dropped from the sky. No explosions, no bullets, just sudden blackouts. A scientist yelled, "All frequencies are jammed. We've lost contact." The team formed a tight circle, weapons raised. "Stay sharp," the commander said. "They're here, watching us." A soldier at the edge of the group turned around. There was nothing behind him. Then something moved. He opened fire, but there was no target. Just sand. He turned again and was gone. No sound, no scream, just an empty space where he had stood. The others panicked. Lasers flashed in every direction. They fired at shadows, at rocks, even at each other. The commander shouted, "Hold your fire! You're wasting energy!" But fear had taken over. Then came the voice. It didn't come from a radio. It came from everywhere at once. Deep, calm, human. "Observe. Do not interfere." The voice repeated again and again in perfect Zarnian language. The team ran. They left equipment, samples, even one of their own behind. The desert seemed to close around them. Their dropship picked them up and took off without waiting. As it rose, a message appeared on its screen. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 begins. Back at the capital, the alien leaders stared at the footage. None of it made sense. The humans were not using weapons. They were not attacking cities or stealing resources. Yet their presence had caused more damage than a full invasion. Zarn's armies were afraid. Its skies were silent. Its systems were failing. The top intelligence, Officer Liran, called an emergency session. "I found something," he said. "A pattern." He showed satellite images, certain energy spikes in different areas. Dots appeared across the screen. Each one marked a place where humans had interfered, slightly, but enough to cause confusion. "They're testing our reactions," Liran said, "like scientists watching ants." The council was horrified. "They sent only 5 people," whispered one advisor. "And look what they've done." General Vozar clenched his jaw. "We will not be humiliated. I want every city scanned, every street watched. If they breathe, I want to know." But even with full surveillance, they could not find the humans, because the humans were already inside. In a dark alley, just blocks from the government tower, one human crouched under a stealth field. His armor bent light, his movements were silent. He tapped a small screen on his wrist. It showed live feeds from across Zarn, military posts, defense codes, troop routes. Another human was hiding inside a water filtration plant. He had dropped small black spheres into the tanks. They weren't bombs. They were signal relays, feeding information back to Earth in real time. The third human had hacked into Zarn's news system. That night, every screen across the planet flickered, then went black. A single sentence appeared in white. "We are not here to conquer, we are here to measure." Panic returned. People screamed in the streets. Some blamed the government. Others believed Earth had already taken control. Riots began in the outer cities. Alien soldiers refused orders. Fear was stronger than any human weapon. Still, the humans did not strike. They simply watched. From their hidden positions, they observed how fast Zarn collapsed, not from war, but from the fear of war. They made notes. They sent reports. Back on Earth, a woman in a silver uniform read the incoming data. She nodded. "Impressive," she said. "No shots fired, yet total disruption." A nearby officer asked, "Shall we send more?" She smiled. "Not yet. Let them understand." Far below her, in the shadows of a world now broken by doubt, a single alien boy found a strange object outside his home. A small silver disc. It hummed with soft energy. As he picked it up, a human voice whispered, "From it, we're closer than you think." The alien world of Zarn was breaking. Not from bombs, not from fire, but from the quiet shadow of fear. Every night, lights flickered in the capital. Rumors filled the streets like thick smoke. People locked their doors. Soldiers no longer stood, tall. They watched the skies with nervous eyes, afraid that something would come down from the stars again. The black ships in the Dryfang Desert had not moved. They sat in the sand like sleeping beasts. But somehow, they had already changed everything. General Vosar had not slept in days. He sat in the war room, his eyes red, watching live feeds from across the planet. Strange glitches kept appearing. Brief flashes of human figures in places where they shouldn't be. One inside a power plant, another inside a research lab. Each image disappeared before it could be confirmed. But Vosar knew. The humans were inside their walls. He slammed his fist on the table. "This is not an invasion," he growled. "This is a message, and we keep missing it." On the edge of the city, inside a tall tower, a small device ticked softly. It was no larger than a stone, but it scanned every piece of data flowing through the Zarn communication system. It filtered, copied, and sent it off-world in pulses of invisible energy. A human Recon agent had placed it there days ago. No alarms had gone off. No one even noticed. Inside the black ship buried in the desert, the 5 human agents sat quietly, each one in a different command pod. Their faces were calm, focused. They were not soldiers in the traditional sense. They were specialists, trained to move unseen, think faster, and break systems without violence. Agent Mira, the team's lead analyst, was reviewing recent chaos reports. 57 riots in 3 days, she said through the shared comms. 12 power failures, 5 false missile alarms, all triggered by our presence, and we haven't fired a single shot. Agent Cole replied. Fear is louder than war, Agent Jin chuckled. They thought we were an army, but we're just 5 shadows. Meanwhile, the alien leadership grew, more desperate. A council meeting was called. Every major leader sat in silence. The mood was cold, heavy. A new message had just appeared on their global broadcast system. One line in every language. This is not the attack. This is the test. One old council member stood. We are being studied, watched like animals. Another said, it's psychological warfare. They're breaking us from the inside. General Vozar stepped forward. Then let us show them. We are not weak. He activated Project Sunstorm. It was a planet-wide plan to scan, capture, and disable any sign of human presence. Thousands of drones were launched. Surveillance satellites adjusted their eyes. Heat scans, movement sensors, and tracking systems were pushed to the limit, but none of it worked. The drones found nothing. The scans came back empty. The system was too slow for what they were trying to catch. The humans were already gone, or perhaps already inside the places the scans couldn't reach. Then, something happened that changed everything. A secret. Weapons lab in the mountains sent out a distress call. Explosions, fires, screams. The transmission cut off before help could arrive. When soldiers reached the location, the lab was destroyed, but there were no human signs, no bodies, just writing burned into the walls. Phase 2. Complete. General Vozar was furious. They're mocking us, he shouted. Find them. The people of Zarn were even more afraid now. Are we already conquered? They whispered. Is this how humans fight? Even young alien children had nightmares of faceless humans walking through walls. One little girl refused to go to school after she saw a tall shadow with glowing eyes in her hallway. But then, something even stranger happened. One of the black human ships in the desert suddenly powered up. Not fully, just enough to glow. Its dark hull shimmered with blue light. Energy pulses rolled across its surface. Alien satellites picked up the signal. It was not a weapon. It was a message. A voice played on every screen across the planet. Calm, steady, human. You are not the enemy. But we had to know. The message played again, and then the ship went dark. In the hidden command room under the desert, Agent Mira turned to her team. Phase 3, she said quietly. Extraction. The Recon unit began packing up. No. Rush, no panic. Every tool was taken, every trace removed. The mission was done. They had seen what they came to see. The black ships were ready to launch. Back on Earth, high above in orbit, a fleet of real human warships waited silently in the void. They had not moved. They didn't need to. A general aboard the lead cruiser looked at the report. He smiled. 1. Recon team did all this? His second-in-command nodded. Zarn thought it was the full army. The general leaned back in his seat. Imagine what would happen if it really was. The sky above Zarn was calm, but under that silence, fear grew like a storm waiting to break. The 5 human recon agents had finished their mission. No city had fallen, no armies had clashed, yet the entire planet trembled. Inside their hidden ship in the Dry Fang Desert, the humans prepared to leave. Agent Mira stood in front of a floating screen, watching data flow. We measured their fear. We tested their systems. Now we vanish. Agent Cole checked the final logs. We disabled their faith in power without lifting a gun. They expected an army. They got a mirror. Agent Jin smiled. And in that mirror, they saw how weak they truly are. Above them, the ship's engines began humming. The sand shifted as anti-gravity lifted the hull a few inches, but they didn't rise. Not yet. They had one last message to send. Back. In the capital city, alarms screamed. The sky lit up with a single glowing signal broadcast across every screen. It wasn't a warning or a threat. It was a video, recorded by the humans. It showed the Recon unit moving silently through military bases, walking unnoticed past soldiers, hacking data, placing devices, standing in control rooms without ever being seen. The aliens stared at the footage in disbelief. They realized the terrifying truth. The humans had been everywhere, every system, every fortress, every secret, and no one had known. The message ended with a calm human voice. If 5 of us can do this, imagine 500. Panic returned. To the streets. Some aliens collapsed in fear. Others ran into the night, screaming. Military officers shouted for order, but the army itself was broken. Many soldiers refused to follow orders. Others turned off their comms and went home to protect their families. Inside the war room, General Vosar stood frozen. His hands trembled. His people were not ready for a real war with Earth. Not even close. "Sir," whispered his aide, What do we do now?" General Vosar stared at the screen. Then, for the first time, he said the words no one expected. "We surrender." His voice echoed in the silence. But surrender to what? No one had invaded. No flags were raised. No troops had marched on their streets. Yet their will to fight had already been crushed. It was not war. It was something worse. A silent defeat. Suddenly, a new signal appeared. It didn't come from the desert. It came from space, a massive human battleship uncloaked just outside Zarn's orbit. Its size was unlike anything the aliens had seen, bigger than cities, moving like a ghost through the stars. Its name glowed on the hull, HSS Judgment. Its weapons were online, but still quiet. It didn't attack. It just waited. Inside the battleship, General Arden of Earth watched the planet below through the large view screen. He had read the Recon team's full report. 5 agents had broken a planet without violence. "They're not our enemy," Arden said calmly, "but they needed to understand who we are." His officers nodded. "Should we deploy troops?" "No," Arden said. "That would be overkill." Back on Zarn, the Council of Leaders met in secret. Fear had destroyed their pride. They knew war was not just about weapons anymore. It was about control of the mind. Earth had shown them what true strength was, not in size, but in strategy. One council member asked, "What if they come again, in greater numbers?" Another whispered, "Then we won't survive." At that moment, a final message arrived from the Recon team, transmitted through the ship in the desert. It was short. "We came in peace. You failed the test. We leave now. Next time, we won't come alone." The 5 black ships slowly rose from the desert, floating into the air like silent shadows. No one dared to stop them. No shots were fired. No missiles launched. The people of Zarn watched from windows, rooftops, and streets. They saw the ships rise higher and higher, until they vanished into the clouds and then into the stars. But the damage was done. The cities were still standing. The army still had its weapons. But something was gone. Something more important. Their courage. In the days that followed, many alien worlds across the galaxy heard the story of Zarn, of how 5 humans caused an entire planet to break without, starting a war. Some laughed. Some didn't believe it. But those who paid attention grew afraid, because if this was just a recon team, what would a real human war look like? The ships had left, but their shadow still remained. High above, the HSS Judgment disappeared into deep space. silent and cold. On the surface of Zarn, life returned slowly, but it was not the same. Soldiers stood guard outside every major building, but their eyes no longer showed confidence. They looked over their shoulders too often. They jumped at small sounds. General Vozar sat alone in his chamber, replaying the human message again and again. "Next time, we won't come alone." The words burned into his thoughts like fire. There had been no invasion, no official war, but still, he had lost, and he was not the only one. Other nearby alien worlds had watched the situation. Their sensors had picked up the human signal. Their leaders had seen the broadcasts. Their spies confirmed what Zarn tried to hide. 5 humans had done what entire armadas could not. On the planet Zelrith, Supreme Chancellor Ivox called an emergency council. "We must act now," he said. "Humans are more dangerous than we ever imagined. They don't just attack, they plan, they study, they break minds before walls." One of his generals asked, "Then what is your proposal?" Ivox looked around the table. "We unite. For the first time in galactic history, we must form a single military force, not against each other, but against Earth." Some disagreed. Others feared provoking humans further, but one by one the council members began to nod. The fear of Earth was greater than their old rivalries, and so a plan was born. They called it the Unity Defense Protocol, a joint alliance of 13 alien empires built with one goal: to prepare for war with humans. Fleets were combined, weapons upgraded, new bases were built on moons and asteroids, but all of it was based on fear. They hadn't been attacked by Earth, but they still prepared for destruction. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Recon agents returned home. Agent Mira walked through the long halls of Central Command. Humans around her smiled and nodded with quiet respect. They all knew what she and her team had done. Without killing, without chaos, they had shifted the power of the galaxy. In the war room, General Arden stood at a large star map. Dots marked the alien alliance's new military movements. "They're joining forces," he said calmly. "We broke them. Now they try to rebuild." Agent Cole stepped forward. "We should hit them before they finish." Arden shook his head. "Not yet. They're afraid of us, yes. But fear fades. Eventually they will try to prove we're not as powerful as we seem. And that is when they'll make a mistake." "Do we wait for that?" Agent Jin asked. "No," Arden replied. "We test again." A new mission was already forming. Another recon unit, another target. But this time it would not be 5 agents. It would be 20. Their next destination was clear: a hidden weapons moon deep in the Zelrith system. According to intelligence reports, it was where the Alien Alliance was building their anti-human countermeasures, but Earth had already infiltrated it. In a dark room under that moon's surface, 2 humans in black suits stood in silence. They were new agents, part of the next generation, watching, learning, planting bugs in the power systems. The aliens thought their base was secure. They were wrong. One of the human agents leaned into her comms. "We're in. No resistance. Their scanners are blind to our gear." Back on Earth, Arden smiled. "Begin Phase 1. Just like on Zarn, Earth would not attack first. They would study, learn, show the enemy their own weakness, and when the moment was right, they would strike without warning." On Zarn, General Vosar watched the skies nightly, unsure whether the darkness held safety or death. He had lost his pride, but worse, he had gained knowledge. He now knew Earth didn't need armies to win. They only needed to be seen. And across the galaxy, more and more species were realizing the same truth. Humanity didn't come to conquer. They came to warn, and the real question remained unanswered. What happens when the warning is ignored? Darkness covered the Zelrith weapons moon. Cold, silent, distant from any sun, the entire base was buried under black rock and reinforced walls. To the alien alliance, this place was their answer to the human problem. Here, scientists and engineers worked night and day to build weapons that could destroy Earth's ships before they ever got close. But the humans were already inside. Agent Riker moved like a shadow through the ventilation shaft, his suit blending into the walls. His partner, Agent Sarah, crouched below him in a storage bay, setting small, silent scanning devices. "Their energy core is unstable," Sarah whispered through the comm. "They're rushing the build. It'll collapse under pressure." "Good," Riker replied. "Let them finish it." In the command center, Zelrith engineers proudly activated the test weapon for the first time, a massive energy cannon aimed toward the stars. It was never fired, just powered. But the signal it gave off was enough for Earth to act. Back on Earth, General Arden leaned over the star map. "They've opened the final gate. Now we respond." He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. But everyone in the room knew what he meant. A quiet order was given. One squad, no backup, no war declaration, just a message. Back on the moon, a siren screamed. Guards ran through the hallways. Monitors flickered. A chilling message appeared. On every screen, "You failed again." Then the lights went out. In total darkness, the facility's defenses locked up. The giant cannon powered down by itself. Panic spread like fire through the alien staff. They shouted, demanded explanations, but no one had answers. In the shadows, the Recon agents moved. One by one, control rooms were entered, weapons disarmed, computers wiped clean. By the time backup teams arrived from orbit, the entire base had been stripped of data and left untouched. No destruction. No violence, only silence. The lead Zelrith commander screamed into the comm system, "Show yourselves, cowards! Fight us face to face!" But there was no answer. At the edge of the system, a single human stealth ship powered down its cloaking. From its window, Agent Sarah watched the moon fade behind them. "They're not ready," she said. "They never were," Riker replied. In the Galactic Council, news of the failed moon base spread fast. 13 empires had worked together, built something massive, believed they were ready. But 5 humans, again, had walked through it like ghosts. Some leaders demanded war, but others were beginning to question everything. High Chancellor Ivox slammed his fist on the table. "Are we fighting ghosts or monsters?" "No," whispered the Zelrith ambassador. "We're fighting minds sharper than ours, and they're not even trying yet." That silence grew heavier with every passing. Day Earth had not sent fleets, had not claimed territory, had not fired a single shot in open war. But already 3 powerful worlds had fallen into fear, and now whispers began on neutral planets, worlds not part of any alliance, whispers of peace, whispers of surrender. Back on Earth, Agent Mira was called into a private meeting. General Arden looked her in the eye. "We won't need to send armies," he said. "Not if we keep showing them the cost of pride." "Some still don't believe us," Mira replied. "They will," Arden said, "because soon they'll beg us to come." A long pause followed. Then Arden pointed to a new system on the map. The Jexari cluster, independent, wealthy, powerful. And watching closely, Earth's next message would not be through hacking or sabotage. This time they would send one human ship, unarmed, to talk. Mira raised an eyebrow. "You're trusting them to listen?" "No," Arden said. "I'm trusting them to feel fear and choose survival over ego." The Recon team watched as the new diplomatic ship launched quietly from Earth. It carried no missiles, no soldiers, only one human diplomat. But everyone in the galaxy held their breath. If this ship was harmed, Earth would not stay silent. If this ship was welcomed, Perhaps there was still hope. As the stars stretched across the ship's window, the human diplomat opened a small file. Inside was a simple phrase meant for the Jexari leaders. You still have a choice. Because even now, after everything, Earth hadn't declared war, but their message was clear. The next move wasn't Earth's to make. The Jexari homeworld sparkled in the dark of space, filled with glowing cities, floating gardens, and towering crystal structures. Known for wealth and wisdom, they had stayed neutral in every war. But now, they faced a choice that could shape the galaxy's future. The human ship approached without stealth, without weapons. It moved slowly, almost peacefully. And inside, one man stood calm and still, Ambassador Grant, Earth's top diplomat. He wasn't a soldier. He wore no armor. But in his quiet eyes was a power that made generals uneasy. The Jexari Defense Council watched from orbit, their fingers near the defense triggers. "Shall we shoot it down?" one commander asked. "No," their leader replied. "Let's hear him." The human ship landed on a platform of light. No guards exited. No escort followed. Only Grant stepped out, holding a black data crystal in his hand. He was taken into a chamber lined with stone and stars. Dozens of Jexari elders sat in silence. No one smiled. No one greeted him. Grant placed the crystal on the table. "I'm not here to threaten you," he said in calm, clear words, "but I won't lie either." One elder, her voice shaking, asked, "Are the stories true? Did 5 humans really bring a war planet to its knees?" Grant nodded. "Yes, and we did it without touching a single soul." "Why?" another asked. "To send a message," Grant said. "That Earth doesn't want war. But if war is forced upon us, we will not lose." The crystal activated. Images appeared, silent footage of Earth's Recon agents walking through enemy bases, disabling weapons, vanishing into shadows. Other clips showed intercepted alien meetings full of fear and panic. Then, one final image. A list of 14 alien planets marked in red. "These," Grant said, "are the systems preparing to attack Earth. Even now." Gasps spread through the chamber. Grant's voice dropped lower. "We know everything, every weapon you've built, every secret meeting you've held, every fleet you've launched." The room went cold. "But you," Grant continued, "you still have a choice." He leaned forward. "Join them and be swallowed by fear, or stand with us and help build something stronger than fear." Silence filled the room. The Jexari were thinkers, not fighters. They had never seen Earth's true strength with their own eyes. But now it wasn't just stories, it was a man, standing alone, with truth in his voice and fire behind his words. One elder stood slowly. "What happens if we say no?" Grant didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Then you'll never see us again. Until the day we come back, and you won't." "Like why?" "No threats, just facts." The meeting ended. Grant returned to his ship, alone. He didn't know what the Jexari would decide, but the seed was planted, and back on Earth, General Arden waited. He stood on a dark platform beneath Earth's orbit, where a new fleet floated silently, the Ghost Armada. Built in secret, made with stolen alien tech, it was Earth's final backup plan, unseen, untouched, unmatched. "If they choose peace," Arden said, "we never launch. If they choose war, they'll never see us coming." Across the galaxy, things moved fast. The alien alliance fractured. Some wanted to keep fighting, others wanted peace. Zarn, still haunted, pulled out entirely. Zelrith fell into civil unrest after the failure of their moon base. And on the edge of it all, whispers of Earth's power became louder. They weren't just seen as warriors now, They were seen as watchers, silent, sharp, and always ahead. Days later, Earth received a signal. From E. The Jexari homeworld, 2 simple words, we accept. Cheers rose across Earth, but not celebration, relief. Because this time, war had been avoided, not through power, but by showing it wisely. General Arden stood at the window of Central Command, watching the stars. "Let them think we are monsters," he said. "It will keep them honest." Beside him, Agent Mira spoke quietly. "Was this the plan all along?" Arden nodded. "We never needed armies. We just needed proof." "Proof of what?" she asked. "That Earth," he said, "is not the weak, wild planet they once laughed at. We are the warning they ignored." She smiled. "And now?" "Now," Arden replied, "they remember." And across the stars, one truth echoed in every council, every ship, every heart. It was never Earth's army. It was only a recon unit, and that alone was enough.